one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Here.
Here. Here.
Move on to the approval of the agenda. If there's no questions, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Mrs. Bird?
Yes?
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Minnigue?
Yes.
Mr. Ferraro?
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
Move on to the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of March 5th, 2025.
I move that we approve the regular minutes of March, the meeting on March 5th, 2025.
Support.
Mrs. Bird?
Yes?
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Minnigue?
Yes.
Mr. Ferraro?
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
Budget, minutes from the budget workshop of March 10th, 2025.
Motion, we approve the budget workshop minutes from the meeting on March 10th, 2025.
Support.
Mrs. Bird?
Yes?
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Minnigue?
Yes.
Mr. Ferraro?
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
We'll move on to the approval of the manifest 2025-06. Ricky, did you have any questions?
No.
Brett? Jeff?
None, Madam Mayor.
No questions.
I have none. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve manifest 2025-06 in the amount of $499,657.16.
Support.
Mrs. Bird?
Yes?
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Minnigue?
Yes.
Mr. Ferraro?
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
Did we have questions to previous?
You had the one question a couple meetings ago about the GPS that was just GoTrack, or in-car. Brett had a question, the last one, about the cost for energy, which I do have a breakdown, but I was trying to, if I go different years, I want to make sure the cost per, so I could adjust it to see, but I have a list of this year to show you that.
Thank you.
The only comment I have to make, I don't remember what the total was. I did have it when you weren't here. I want to make sure we're using that system. If we're paying that kind of money, I mean,
Yeah,
I
and
think
we-
there's times
yeah.
we need to be checking.
Yeah, and we have, I know Scott checks it, Brock does, and so does Chief of Police, and I do as well.
Okay.
So they are being utilized.
Good.
Could you guys bring us maybe an example of some reports you can pull from that thing
Yeah, absolutely.
for next meeting, so we can take a look and see what we're paying for, Candy?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it does all kinds of stuff.
Great.
Move on to public comments. Anyone in attendance wishing to address the council on any item of interest shall do so now at the podium. State your name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. Oh, you're kicked out of here. I shouldn't even have looked at it.
That's right.
Anyone in attendance wishing to address the council on an agenda item only shall do so now at the podium. State your name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. I'm not even looking. We'll move on to action items. Item number 1, Planning Commission appointments. Mr. Stoltman.
So we've had a few openings on planning commission for a while, and we've struggled to have a quorum to have meetings due to that. We have finally received some interested parties to serve on any committee, and so we had 3 that were willing to serve on planning. Normally I would bring these to planning commission for first review to give a recommendation, but I had trouble getting quorums to do so. So instead of that, I just brought it directly to the council for review. I can't say that I'm familiar with these individuals. I am one, Gina, our DDA coordinator, and Kevin has an application in reserve if we can't find one of these that, if one of these doesn't work out, he's willing to serve on this as well. So we do have 3 applicants. Now we do have the 3 openings have different terms. 2 of them would be filling the remaining terms of some that resigned, and then we have one from our chair who finished her term at the end of 24 and chose not to seek reappointment, so that one is our 3-year full term, and some others, one ends in the December of 26 and one ends in December end of this year.
And that's Allison
Kelso.
Galcheck?
Yeah, yep,
That was on there. I believe she was on there for many years.
she was.
I want to thank her personally. I think she did a wonderful job. She helped us out with some other things with the city, and just want to thank her and let her know that we appreciate all the time she put in doing this for the city, volunteering. Okay, do I have a motion?
And if you do, I mean, I don't know how you want to
You got to do them separately.
put someone in what position, because we
Oh.
get, these 3 do have different term limits.
Madam Mayor, I do have a comment
Go ahead.
and a question. I see the first applicant, Michael Mathena. He's been in Norway less than a year. I think we've discussed that in the past, where it would be, I know there's no hard and fast rule, but I do know that I've been no vote on certain folks that I don't believe have been part of the community long enough and understand the fabric of the community, before you join one of our boards. Again, it's more of a comment at this point than it is, anything else, but, I don't know how the council feels about that.
Well, we only have enough to fill the spots, right? That's my understanding.
Unless we take Kevin's applicant, or if anyone in the audience wants to sit on a planning commission.
Yeah, I never thought about that Go Bears thing, yeah.
I think that's his punishment, no?
Yeah, we'll just appoint them. Is that
Yeah.
okay with you if we just appoint you?
You spend every first Thursday of the month with me, Ray, just like the old days.
I did make a comment to Dan earlier today about, I know those positions have been open for a while, and I'd be willing to serve, but.
I would,
As people get involved, but
Right,
they need, that's an important, planning commissions are very.
Very.
correct.
I would say,
We're all for it, down on us.
of all of them, I do, if Mr. Anderson's interested, he would have a lot of history and understanding in zoning for this city. He would be a help in that respect.
And I'm one heck of a chairman for that committee as well.
Hey, we don't even have him on it yet.
Watch your own possibility.
Do we have to wait till we get an official? Probably.
It probably would be
Yes, we do have
best
to
to
wait.
have an application
Yes.
from Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
And with his, knowledge and history, I'd say he would be a good fit for that 3-year full term.
Okay. And then,
Can I make a recommendation for 2 spots?
You sure can, my friend.
But it takes separate.
I gotta have them separate though.
Okay.
Separate motions.
All right. Can I do that now?
You sure can.
Okay. I'd like to recommend appointing Gina Zanone to the term ending December 2027 on the Planning Commission.
Do I have a support?
Oh,
Mrs. Bird?
Wait,
darn it.
It's the 26th.
Sorry, 26th. I amend that to the 26th.
2026.
2026 position. Still seconded?
I think we have a support.
Mrs. Bird?
yes,
Mr. Kramer? Yes. Mr. Minnick?
Yes.
Mr. Rory?
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
I would also like to recommend that the city appoint Monica McElroy to the Planning Commission. Seat, position opening or closing on 12/2025.
Support.
Mrs. Bird?
yes,
Mr. Kramer? Yes. Mr. Minnick?
Yes.
Mr. Rory?
Yes.
who seconded that? You?
I did, yep.
Okay. All right. Then we'll go to item number 2, zoning board of appeals. Dan?
So this is another one where, we had someone step down and we've had trouble filling. The individual that we have here, was interested in planning, and we reached out to her to see if she'd be interested instead to be on the ZBA, because we had 4 total applicants. So again, this is the only one we have. Now, down the road, Leonard Beadla, who sits on this board as our planning commission person, he is someone who may not want to continue on forever. Mr. Anderson would be another good one from the planning commission to be the ZBA when we get to that point.
You're pushing.
But for now, Carrie is the individual we have available
Okay.
for the ZBA. It's a very important seat. It doesn't meet all that often. It's as needed or for variances and things like that, but those do get complex. But we do need a full committee seat to.
Candy, do you know Carrie's maiden name?
No.
I see she's class of 1994.
Yeah,
I
she
know, I looked
graduated
up the
here.
same thing, and I don't know who it is.
Is
What
that
is
you?
it?
No, I'm 92.
Yeah.
But then she was Michigan State grad.
Huh? It was Len's.
Just can't picture her. If you see her. Okay. All right.
Do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that Carrie Lenz be appointed to the Norway Zoning Board of Appeals for the term ending on December 2027.
Support.
Mrs. First,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer. Yes. Mr. Menninger.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald.
Yes.
Item number 3, TMF lead line verification project bid award. Dan?
So, if you recall, we've been working under a DWAM grant to inspect the service lines to residential homes, exterior and interior, to check to see if they are connected or previously connected to.
Excuse me, I have 2 questions.
Okay.
What's TMF?
I don't.
Question number 2, what's DWAM?
I don't know the acronyms. You were here for DWAM, right? You remember what DWAM stands for?
Drinking water, DWAM, they're drinking water, I can't remember what it's called. It's drinking water.
Yeah.
Drinking water, we'll call it aquifer management.
TMF is another state Eagle grant that is for the exact same thing.
Okay.
It's to,
I'm glad we had your
I know.
predecessor here to help with a little bit anyways.
yeah, it makes a big
Drinking
difference.
water asset management. I said
Asset
I said
management.
aquifer management. That was close.
They're very close. Google knows everything.
Yeah.
Just remember who made you look bad, Rico. He asked the questions, okay?
So we're still working on the verification under that grant. This grant came up to do further investigations. So we were awarded that to continue. We bid that project out using GEI as our engineering consultants. They were the ones with us for the DWAM grant. So we had 3 bidders, and they have a recommendation for us based on those bids, which was Smith Construction came in at the lowest and well under our total grant amount, which is over 400,000. So there's a possibility there that we can continue to inspect more than we originally anticipated.
Did you say that, is it DEI?
GEI?
GEI meant, they wrote this, the bid for the last project? When we had it put out for bids?
Yeah.
How come such a big difference? Was it because,
Well, I think for the DWAM, we received that grant, I think in 21 or so. And nothing was getting done with it until around early 23, when I started discussing it with our Public Works supervisor and then getting involved with GEI, I don't think they ever began to do investigations and ever bid anything out. So when we
Right.
bid it out, it was late.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
okay, but I'm wondering, it seems like to me the, bid process was more complex than the first bid process.
I don't know if it was more complex or not. We didn't have any bidders on the original,
I remember that.
you know, and then so when we didn't have any bidders, we just started reaching out to anyone we thought that could do this project.
Okay.
And then just took straight bids directly from these people to try to find someone to start.
So they didn't go off of the original
We
bid?
had no
'Cause-
original bidders.
Yeah, and I remember that. So we kinda just,
Yeah.
okay. That was one of the questions.
Yeah, and this
And
time
then
we-
and my understanding is the person that came in and helped us out when we didn't have the bids will finish up the old,
Yep, the
Grant.
current, yep, the contractor we have right now, under the DWAM, we got that grant extended, through May 15th. So he will continue, to finish up those particular sites. And then the TMF will have a different contractor, for these sites.
okay, and then I have, another question on this too, is because now, cause these are not any local bids, is this company gonna come in and just, I mean, just get them all done? Cause, you know, I know with our last person that did it, it wasn't, I don't think it was a 40-week job or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
The expect.
Is it gonna get done faster so we can use the grant up?
Yes, because we're starting this around the same time that we received it, where the DWAM we had years before, but nothing ever got.
Was there a
Yeah,
completion?
I understand
Is
that,
there
but
a
I'm,
completion date in the bid? By, a buy time, you have to do this
By
by,
yes, it has to be completed by the end of the term of the grant.
the grant?
So, yeah, it'll get done before that expires. The reason why it didn't happen in DWAM, because, again, there was a certain amount of time that was open and nothing happened.
but no, I understand that, I'm not asking that question, I'm just kinda asking,
Yes, the work will get done.
you know,
before it
and there was
expires.
local bid, you know, I know some local people that wanted to bid in on it and didn't do it because the scope was, I don't think they
Too large.
understand it, all of the scope, and it was larger than before, so I'm just trying to get that answered, you know, why we put it out the way we did this time, and I guess what I like to know too is, can I see, I don't know if it'll help me, but I like to see the scope on the first bid that went out.
Okay.
You know, the first time, but now I understand what you're saying too, we didn't even go with the scope because we had to just go with whatever we could get to get
Yeah,
what
it
we
was the
could get done.
same scope, we just didn't have.
Was it
any-
exactly the same?
I don't know if it was exactly the same or not. I'd have to
when's the
look at it.
when's the bid money end? What do we have to use it up by?
I don't remember exactly.
That's the important stuff though, right?
It'll get done before the bid ends.
Was that part of the,
Yes,
that was in there, huh?
yes.
If they don't get it done,
I don't, it'll get done.
we should have damages.
Damages?
Yeah. If you're gonna lose your money, Dan, if they don't get it done by a certain date,
We can actually get a second contractor with the amount of extra money that we have.
okay, that's fine. But I'm saying you want that planning. If you have a drop dead date on your
Yeah,
money.
we have a bid bond.
Do you have a bid bond?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So
Excellent.
They are, everyone's, it's,
Is there any other questions?
What do we know about these guys? Except they did a similar
we
project in
know
Marquette?
that our consultants reached out to them. Their letter says that they've done this work, that they believe that they can do this work, and that is their recommendation. So that is what I take from them. I don't reach out to them directly. I rely on our consultants.
Sure,
to tell us.
yeah, that's what we're paying
And
them.
I did kinda look into it too, and I think you're saying to it too, that they did reach out, I think they did Marquette.
When they say similar project, it was actually a lead pipe replacement
Yeah.
project? Okay. Where are they out of?
Marquette.
Marquette.
Okay.
Any other questions?
For questions for next time, Don, could you get us when the grant is, up?
Yeah.
Date? Okay.
So do you want to post,
In this contract, it does state that
It is.
bidder agrees that the work will be substantially complete and will be completed and ready for final payment in accordance with paragraph 15.06 and the general conditions on or before the dates or within the number of calendar days indicated in this agreement.
Excellent. I would just like to know what that date is, because people are, once the work starts, they're gonna be asking us, how long is this gonna take?
and,
Great.
you know, I know we've probably already put something out there, but we're gonna be starting again, so
Yeah,
newsletter, whatever.
Yep.
Give people forewarning. I don't know what else you guys are doing with that,
Yeah.
but get something out there, maybe get something on the TV. I have no other questions. Does anybody else have any questions on that? If not, do I have a motion? Or would you like to postpone it until we get more information?
I'll make a motion to approve the bid of Smith Construction Incorporated as presented for the TMF lead line verification project.
I support.
Mrs. Bird?
And you said Smith, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Smith Construction?
Sorry. Yes,
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menninger?
Yes.
Mr. Marrero?
yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
and did you say not to exceed the amount? That's
It's
okay.
there, I mean. you can
It's
do
there,
it.
okay.
It's good amount.
All right. Move on. Item number 4, utility pole purchase request, electric department. Do you want me to go right to Scott with this?
That's fine, it's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, go ahead,
Yes,
Scott.
ma'am. So we purchased some poles in the fall, and we had depleted our inventory across all pole sizes. So we refilled both the and over the course of the last few months, we replaced a significant amount of 40-foot poles. So our 30s as well. So our 30s and our 40s are depleted. We have three 30s and 4 40-foot poles left. So I would like to replenish the stock of those. You can see in that graph that to maximize freight, we have to target 40,000 pounds, so I kind of broke out how best to achieve that.
And if we, our cable deal moves forward, there may be poles that we have to replace, we start lowering those cable lines as well, so having more inventories is gonna be beneficial.
How many 40-foot poles on average do we replace in a year?
So since August, we've put about 20 in the ground.
Okay.
So, yeah, we've put a significant amount in already. So that was, we were sitting at about 24 when we ordered, which is a pretty healthy number to have, and we don't do a lot of them.
And you're expecting to continue that work, whether it's for the cable or?
Yes, ma'am.
And we also want to keep some, in case of an accident. Some of them are in rough shape if something happens or somebody hits one, you
We've
know.
had a lot of vehicle strikes this winter, a lot. So we changed a lot of poles on due to that.
So in total, you want 41?
41, ma'am. It's
Yeah.
6 30s, 7 35s, and 28 40s.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve using the joint purchase program with WPPI to purchase utility poles in the minimum quantities as presented in the spreadsheet in the amount of $22,506 with a total not to exceed the amount of $24,506, including freight charges.
Support.
Mrs. Bird?
Yes?
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menninger?
Yes.
Mr. Marrero?
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
We'll move on to item number 5, stream gauging joint funding agreement with the U.S., what is it?
US Geological Survey.
That. And I believe we do this every single
Yep.
year. We don't have a choice.
Yep, every single year. Price didn't change
Oh,
for
this
us
is
on
my
this year.
favorite one.
So, yep, we do it every single year.
Any got questions? If not, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the stream gauging joint funding agreement between the City of Norway and the U.S. Geological Survey as presented.
USGS.
Mrs. Rude?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menke?
Yes.
Mr. Marrero?
No,
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
that was for your father, Rico. See, look at Ray knows, that was for,
Yes, I knew exactly. Discussion item number 6, Act 51 Annual Mileage Certification, Request to Add Roads. Dan?
So every year, we have to recertify our major and local roads through the state of Michigan, which is these maps that you guys have probably seen before, designated major and local roads. The total mileage is our basis of our funding for major and local. So we have number of miles for major, number of miles for local. Part of that recertification each year is we review this and we can add new roads, we can subtract new roads, we can ask to change major to local, vice versa. For this year, we do have a request from Mr. Anderson to consider adding a road to the local street. So where Mr. Anderson lives is, it appears that it may have been a street at some point. Now it appears to be more of an alley, but there are 2 houses there with Maple Street addresses, with a Maple Street that does not exist in that location. So part of that concern is if you are looking for emergency services to find you, for instance, they're looking for addresses, and if they're using this, if this is their basis through the state, which my understanding is this is what it's supposed to be through the dispatch services, they may not know where that is, because their addresses are essentially now in an alley with Maple Street addresses. It may get a little complicated as Act 51 is, they have specific regulations on what can be added or not. I would make the argument on this that it, appears that it may have been a road at some point, and there are addresses on there with Maple Street addresses, one of which there is no other road there that could be changed. It couldn't change an address to somewhere else because it doesn't exist. There's not a cross street anywhere else.
I can see where that would get confused with the other Maple Street.
Yeah, there's Maple Street across, so it may be Maple Street south. So if we do that,
Or you could say I'm behind the library.
oh, if they know the library, yeah, it is. So the process to do this is there's a resolution that we would have to just, have you guys approve and send to the state, and they would make their determination for that. But the petitioner for this is here, if you guys would like to.
Well, it doesn't hurt, because it'll help us anyway, so.
If it's approved, we would get additional monies.
Right.
If it's not, we couldn't use Act 51 money on any maintenance of that particular.
Right. Well, try it.
yep.
Do you guys want to hear anything from Mr. Anderson?
I'd love to hear something from Mr. Anderson.
And I'll bring the resolution.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Well, thank you for having me. So, history. We're on the 600 block of Maple Street. At the time I grew up, the time my dad grew up in that house, there was no physical street there. That actually was a sledding hill or a toboggan run way back. But there is a curb there, so if they come up, I can show them the old curb. But the problem is that, like emergency services, we had an incident. My mother-in-law lives in 617, which is on the highway, and we had an incident, and I watched the ambulance go down 700 block, then go back, go all the way around Fourth Avenue to school and go around the lake, and they had no idea. And they're trying to use the navigation, which technically should come through the Act 51 mapping. You know, that they should be sharing that and dispatch. They use that with the state police. But when I use Google Maps or just the commercial mapping, it's interesting where they actually put my house and my location. So initially, comment was, why don't we just use 7th Avenue, the highway? Well, that might work for my mother-in-law, but I really don't want my 91-year-old mother-in-law having to change addresses. That would probably stress her out. And it doesn't help me because I'm not on 7th Avenue. So when you look at, we're 603 and we got 617, that's typically would be on the west side of the street. This would be on the east side. Really, what we want to do is just take and move that 600 block over to the alley, just have that little stretch. That way that it can be designated. It doesn't even have to be fixed up. It just needs to be designated. Worst comes to worst, if they turn us down, I'm just asking to put up a sign. Just at least if they're running on the highway, they see it on the highway.
And I think there's other instances, because I'm on the ambulance committee, that we've ran into that, where the ambulances, going around in that, and I know one for sure was, you remember where Amy D. Decker lived by me?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like an alleyway or whatever coming off there, and the little boy was, having a seizure, and they couldn't find it, and the GPS don't bring you there. That might be another one that we won't, you know, maybe there's
Yeah.
others that, not just yours, to look at. I know mine doesn't bring it to my house, but I'm sure I'm not gonna get a street.
Mayor Brulin.
Yeah.
So you're at least off a street, you have a long driveway.
They never find
Yeah, I
it.
know. Because like we have started looking at others like this. You know, like I said, like this is, so if you look here, this is where we're talking. And on Google, it's listed as Maple Street. On our zoning map, it's listed as Maple Street. On this big map, it's not. So it gets, you can see how it could get confusing.
I know if you Google mine and you didn't know where I was, because
Yeah.
I get Walmart delivery all the time,
Yeah.
they never, if it, unless it's
Yeah.
the same driver, they never.
Yeah, the GPS, like through
does
Google,
not.
because
Yeah.
my house, if you do my house, you'll go see Rico at the school, because that's where. That doesn't work very well. Yeah, because I have the same problem. Mine goes right here to the school, but that's more of just a Google mapping issue.
Will you go back up by Curry so I can show them
Yeah.
where that one is? So I'm glad he brought this up, because I've thought about that one time when after that happened, where are we at?
It's right there.
Curry.
right there.
So a conversation
All
that I actually had with Pete Schlitt a number of years ago, we actually have a kind of a wonky situation in town anyway, because you're not supposed to have any W's or N's or E's on addresses in the city limits.
I know.
Those are for township.
I was just gonna bring that up. That's, but they can find them then, because they're at the end of the road on the main drag, and they know that address is back there.
Yeah.
On a long driveway or on whatever, to Candy's point.
Yeah, and so he asked if we would actually go through an address. You can set up an ordinance, an address ordinance, and I think what happened in the past, this is before I ever came here, is that the fire department got tasked with giving out addresses. Well, they're used to giving out the township addresses with the W's, and there's a whole section of town, like by you, Candy, that has those, and Springview Drive is another one. You know, they're all W, they shouldn't, because,
Mine isn't a W,
Yours
but it
isn't?
is below me.
yeah.
All of
yeah,
them are
yeah.
below me, but mine
And I
ain't.
know it'll cause some stress, so, you know, they did, when they put the W's on, and then when you take them off, it'll cause some stress, people won't be very happy, but that's the thing you should do. Trying to think of the name, the street. The one up by Tinty's.
Summit?
Is it Summit?
Is that Summit?
Yeah, it's Summit.
Well, you got Summit going around the ski hill.
Yes.
And that's a major problem, because those should be, some of those are W's, and then, yeah. So anyway, addressing is probably.
Yeah, you just can't say, go behind the library.
No, I know, I was teasing them.
Well, FedEx and UPS can find me.
Yeah,
I have trouble with
They're
that.
there a lot.
You must order a lot.
But long as he was
Dog food.
bringing that up, see if we can point that out, which is way major than mine, I believe, and it's,
This here?
yeah.
This is you. I don't know, there's.
Show me.
Isn't this you?
That's you right there.
Yeah, it's up in,
Is it above you?
so this is coming around, right?
Yeah.
It's a little alley that goes to a little house that can, yeah, it's this house right here.
Yeah, see, that's,
This
That's-
is where the little boy was, yeah, had something going on, and,
what's the address of the house?
Well,
we don't wanna see that.
I mean, I don't know
I
if
mean, is
that's,
it a Curry, is it Curry Road?
I don't know, and I don't always trust this,
Yeah.
but this says it's Curry Road on
Yeah,
Google Maps, but.
well, it ain't that house that you're gonna click on this one.
Yeah, so, because the drive is off of Curry, so that's why.
Yeah.
we gave it-
Yeah, it's off.
Driveway right here.
And it's, you know whose it is, Amy's, it's overlooking my,
Yeah,
kind of my land there, and, they really had a heck of a time trying to find that.
And there's like, we looked at one up here as well. Is it here? Like, here's
Yeah.
a house back here, and this is, this isn't a, so there are,
isn't that Jansen?
no,
Jansen's not.
Jansen's right here.
Yeah.
So this is kind of, people probably, subdivided their property and sold, back here, or, this is not a really a road. So there are a few examples that we've been looking at that maybe won't have time necessarily for this renewal.
Right, but we should look into
Well, that, unless it's a right of way, because the good thing about my situation is it's already a pre-existing right of way. And, Horn
That
Lane-
used to be an alley where the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
An alley went through there because I used to live on the top.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they did with that alleyway there, but that front part still has it with the house on it.
But if the state hedges on it, I mean, Horner Lane was an alley, and that now is a local street.
Yeah.
You can bring them over, we can have a discussion. It's an emergency services.
Well, I think cleaning it up and adding consistency to anything, especially when you're talking safety here,
Right.
it's always a good idea. I don't see many negatives out of it, other than, I used to have an N or a W, no, there could be that,
You keep the same number, it's just a matter of.
Yeah.
So is this a renewal that happens every year?
Yeah.
Yep. So in this case, I'll bring the resolution to you guys next meeting, and then I'll submit it right after that, because it's due April 19th.
And then we can see about some outliers for next
Yeah, we'll
year.
start, we can start reviewing and
Just looking what fits.
So the political question, why didn't you think of this when you were sitting here?
You never had the ambulance.
Okay. It
Yeah.
was just something that you never had to deal
It was
with.
that- it was-
Because, that's gonna be, that question will be asked.
Well,
Well, it's just, it never came
Yeah,
up.
yeah. There was never a reason to. Now there's a reason.
There's a reason.
and I would have never thought of that either, up on the hill there where I'm talking about, because
I didn't know
until
that
I
was a-
seen the ambulance keep going back and forth, couldn't find it, I went by there a million times and never thought, that ambulance wouldn't find the house right away. Eventually they did, but,
Yeah.
Makes sense. And once we start looking for them, I'm sure we're gonna find more than we realized.
right.
And
it's a safety.
One's kind of too many,
Right.
when it comes to,
And at least
Emergency service riding around.
do our due diligence to
Yeah,
send the
I-
paperwork in and see what they have
I
to say
agree
about
100%.
it. All right, we'll move on to mayor council comments. Ricky, did you have anything tonight?
I just wanted to recognize the Norway robotics team that went to the Escanaba competition. It was nice to see them after, I don't know how many years. So they learned a lot, and I think they made a lot of connections to grow that club.
That's great.
Nothing, Madam Mayor.
On that same point, I'd like to recognize Norway Canary Schools, their band. They had their festival yesterday. That program was gone for a couple of years. The biggest factor was couldn't find I think there was 4 or 5 schools in the UP that couldn't find a certified music instructor. Mr. McGeehan, who we hired in and who has resurrected the program. The high school band comprised mainly of middle school students, competed very well at festival, even with some of the bigger schools to our west, did very, very well.
Great.
As a young up-and-coming fledgling program, received the same score as a lot of the larger, more established programs.
Nice.
That's
So he does a
awesome.
great job.
He does a nice job.
Yeah.
He does, you know, with the concerts and the
Yeah.
Christmas play and stuff. I think he really does a
Yeah.
very nice job.
He's good, very good with kids.
And I don't know, I don't think we mentioned it last time, maybe we did, you know, congratulations to the girls' basketball team. They did very well, and congratulations to them for as far as, they went. The only other thing I would have to say is, it's still a little bit stormy weather. We don't know how things are gonna be, so just be conscious of, the parking bans on the streets, because if we sure could still get a huge snowstorm, so. Just want to remind everybody. Dan,
Nothing for me.
go ahead.
So we had some water over the weekend, and was able to turn up the hydro, and we set a generation record that I'm aware of on Saturday. We have a consistent 6.1 megs of production for probably 18 hours before water had to be adjusted. So the things we're doing are paying dividends, and it's running really good.
You said record.
Yeah, as far as I know.
For that time of year, or
Generation record altogether.
period? That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I've seen 6, like, there were 6 and it goes away. This one up to 6.1 and it just sat there. So, pretty good. Good stuff.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
What's that? That was the heat. Great. Everything's running great. Like, it's-
Oh, yeah, don't say that, Scott.
Sorry.
And yeah, you know, and a great job from the past council or whatever when we redid them runners and, you know, we've been chipping away little by little, keeping that up and that's a good thing.
Well,
For sure, for sure.
I would say large in part due to someone's leadership at the dam as well. That guy, so.
He wa-
Scott.
He wasn't in control at that time, but okay.
The incremental changes that have been happening.
Yes,
I will
yes.
thank the both the past 2 dam managers for sure. They've
It's
done
many,
good
many years
things.
of good decisions.
Yes.
And you do a nice job. I didn't mean anything by that. All right, do I have
Motion, we
motion?
go into closed session.
We'll be going, we'll vote on this in a second. We'll be going into closed session. After we're come out of closed session, we will come out and adjourn, and there will be nothing proceeding after that. Yeah, oh, and we are going into, who made that motion?
I did.
You have to state why we're going into, closed session.
We're going into closed session, under the Open Meetings Act 15.268, closed session section 8, for collective bargaining negotiations.
There you go. Thank you.
Should have said that nice stuff.
I covered it. Grant would be proud.
Mrs. Bird?
Yes?
Mr. Craig?
Yes.
Mr. Minigay?
Yes.
Mr. Marrara?
Yes.
Mrs. Steichen?
Yes.